situation where I still can't believe that watching tonight's game against the Chicago Bulls, where we lost 128 to 114, to people tuning in or people watching this later on in a video. My frustration with this whole thing is that we basically they went on the 29-9 run at one point in the fourth quarter. And to me, that is unacceptable. Having 19 points of a lead, again, it's not everything, right? Because a lot of teams can come back and win games and do all this other stuff like that. But my frustration what it lies in is the fact that we as a unit are not one together, right? It's basically, I saw a lot of pick and roll with like Jason Tatum and Al Horford, and then Jaylen Brown is not involved. And then once it's, they said like, okay, now let's get Jaylen Brown involved. And then all of a sudden it's like he can't make a shot. And I just feel like we're not playing to like a team basketball oriented style. I know Udoka really wants to focus on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but my frustration with the Celtics team is that we don't have the pieces around those guys to really warrant them, kind of playing the way that they do. We have to play a lot more team basketball. And as much as I would love to say that, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, take that next step, score 30 points a game, get in that MVP conversation, I think the best thing for our team right now is to really get the other guys also involved in our offense. Because right now, when it's just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, that's a big concern. We're not going to have, Robert Williams scoring that many points. We're not going to have Grant Williams scoring that many points. We're not even going to have Romeo Langford and Aaron Naismith scoring that many points. And so when I see that and when I realize all that situation going on for the Boston Celtics, to me, I would say I'm frustrated with the way that we're playing right now, and I'm frustrated with the way that we have continuously blown games. This one, to me, specifically hurt. The Celtics led 35-31 near the end of the first quarter before DeMar DeRozan ran off 9 straight points, scoring 11 on a 15-0 run that gave the Chicago a 46-35 lead. But Brown scored on the next 10, hitting back-to-back three-pointers. And then it just kind of led to a situation again. We were up 19 at one point in this game, and I will be frustrated without end because of the way that we've been playing. If we look at our record right now, past this game that we just played from October, we've only won 4 games and lost 6. And then if we go to today, which is the first, obviously, new month, new us, right? Wrong. It's same old, losing 114 to 128, and it's frustrating to see that the team is still, again, not really doing too hot at the moment. And if we look at the statistical like leaders and all that stuff, if we look at points in general, I'm just going to go points. Right now, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are our leading scorers with 26 and 25 respectively. Al Horford at 14, Dennis Schroeder at 14. And then after that, it's just a bunch of trickle-down points. And to me, it's weird that, I would say, Peyton Pritchard, I feel like, is having a very off start so far. I honestly say with Jason Tatum has an off start right now. Jason Tatum has been really frustrating to watch because you expect him to play really well, and he does play really well, but sometimes his game can take away from the team-oriented aspect of things, and it really does hurt the team offense when Jason Tatum is kind of being the guy that takes these step-back threes and doesn't get these shots. There's a reason why Zach LaVine is having such a breakout year this year is because of the fact that they got Lonzo Ball, a.k.a. Boston Celtics. Why the hell did you not sign him? Playing that team-oriented basketball, but he doesn't have to be the facilitator anymore. You have DeMar DeRozan, you have, Zach LaVine, but those guys are not playing out of their depths. You don't see Zach LaVine, doing too many dribble moves to score the rock, right? He's being efficient with his dribbles. He's being efficient, with his movement, and that's allowing him, especially being off the ball now, it's kind of like a guy that can score, but also can, really move the offense with all guys in sync right now with Caruso as well. As much as I criticize him in the past, I have to keep it real. He's been kind of a glue guy for them this year. But again, my frustration so far with the Boston Celtics has been the fact that right now, other than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and even then, Jaylen Brown's been playing really well. Jason Tatum, on the other hand, has been playing kind of average, if not below average of his standard. Right now, shooting 27% from three-point land is absolutely abysmal at the moment. And shooting 39%, almost 40% from the field, from the floor. That's not going to cut it in today's NBA. You have to be able to shoot the ball a lot better. Rebounding wise, doing really well, 8.4. Assist wise, numbers are actually going up, 3.7, almost averaging 4 assists, but the turnovers at 2.6, and then Jaylen Brown at 3.2. That's not going to cut it. And again, my frustration again with the Celtics is the fact that it's always been since last year, is that we don't have a lot of guys around these two players. And my other frustration is the fact that um, we just re-signed Romeo Langford, we re-signed Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Naismith to their contract extensions, the rookie extensions, basically, allowing us to have more, the players and, not having to worry about financial constraints at the moment. But again, like, those guys are not going to really help you win this championship or even, try to contend for one, right? I said it this year and I'll say it again. I don't think that we're even close to a team that could really be the 6th seed. I think we're closer to a team that could be in the play-in game. And that's being generous to our team right now. Again, it's early in the season. Obviously, a lot of things can change, but the frustration that I'm seeing around us right now is the fact that we have yet to kind of commit as a team to really help each other out. Marcus Smart only averaging 8.8 points a game for a guy that you gave a big contract to, only averaging 28.2% from the three-point line, 29% from the field. It's absolutely abysmal for a guy that you paid that much money for not playing it. Jonathan Smith, you said to win it all, you need an all-star big man. I think it depends on like how you win, right? There's different styles to playing. And I think the biggest thing for style-wise, Smith, is that, the Bucks are winning it with the offensive rebounding, right? They're winning it by getting a lot more chances than the opponent to do things. Whereas, I think the Warriors are more about movement and about getting the right shot at the right time and shooting the ball at a particularly great clip. Do you think Boston should sign Ayton? I would see what you have with what we got in terms of, like, I'm not even sure we can afford Ayton, to be honest with you. As much as I would like Ayton just as someone that could really, be a big that can get the rebounds and do other things like that. I really do think that Ayton does need to play with a point guard in order to be effective, or Jonathan Smith. I don't see Ayton being effective with guys like Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, kind of doing what Robert Williams does, right? Offensive rebound, defensive rebound, and basically, get lob points, lob touches and stuff like that. I feel like Ayton would be kind of a waste on this team. But I really think we need as a point guard, someone that can really command the offense, someone that could really, dominate in a way that we haven't had in a very long time. I think Rondo, honestly, was the last point guard where I was like, this guy could be it. I understand we had Terry Rozier. I understand we had Kyrie Irving, but I feel like Kyrie Irving wasn't a point guard like that. He was more of a scoring guard. Whereas I feel like, a guy like Lonzo would have been a perfect fit for us on this team and really would have been a perfect fit for us to really score the rock and really to do things that I really don't think that we can do right now. Alonzo, for better or for worse, what he's done with the Bulls has been impressive. I told you guys that he would be really good in this league. And I felt like he had the right situation going to the Chicago Bulls, where I feel like right now we don't really have that at the moment. What we really have is, Dennis Schroeder, really a backup point guard, in my opinion, running the offense, and Marcus Smart, not really a true point guard. It's one of those things that really kind of messed it up. The Warriors, in my opinion, were an outlier because they had all 4 All-Stars, Thompson, Curry, KD, and Green. But look at the Bucks, Lakers, Heat, Cavs, and all the past winners. They all had star bigs. I do agree with you to some extent, Jonathan Smith, but at the same time, like I said, it depends on the style that you win. I mean, here's the thing. Do you think that Ayton is at the level of those bigs that you're mentioning with those teams, right? The Lakers, they had Anthony Davis. Is he on the level with Anthony Davis? Is he on the level with, Kevin Love, you could say, but I don't even think the Cavs, Kevin Love, you could count because he was kind of injured most of the time. But you could say the Bucks, right, with Giannis. Like, is Ayton in the conversation with AD and Giannis? Jonathan, I don't think so. Ayton is nowhere near that conversation, nowhere close. That doesn't mean that maybe he can't get there eventually. Again, there's a lot of pressure put on him because he was the number 1 pick overall in the draft with Luka and Trae Young, and that really can really put a bind on someone knowing that, like, okay, there were guys in that were picked later than me just dominating the league right now, and I'm here kind of in Phoenix, kind of just chilling, not really doing too much. And that's kind of the thing that we have to think about, right? Is Ayton going to get to the next level? That's what I want to ask you guys, because to me, I'm just not sure if Ayton can get to that next level. I think he can get to one above, maybe be a fringe all-star player, be like a Miles Turner for the West. I think he can be in that kind of conversation, but I'm not sure if he can be like a Sabonis, where I'm seeing like he could just dominate a game like Sabonis can, or like Anthony Davis can. I just don't see that from Ayton. I feel like Ayton right now is kind of teetering towards that like role playing big, but also could be a fringe all-star player. I want to believe that he can be an all-star player. I thought the Phoenix Suns made the right decision in that draft, especially with Devin Booker pairing him with him. But at the same time, it's like that's the question that you have to think about as the Celtics or as any team that's interested in Ayton so far is like, is he going to be the number 2 guy on your team? Is he going to be an Anthony Davis or a Giannis or even remotely close to like a Sabonis? Because right now I'd rather have Sabonis. Or even Embiid. Like, you'd have those guys over Ayton right now. Not saying that Ayton can't ever get to that level, but if you really look at it and really dissect everything, I'm just not sure Ayton can get there just yet. Obviously it'd be interesting to see like if he does go to his own team, what he's able to do on that team. Like if he goes to here's the thing, if he comes to Boston, he's not the number 1 or the number 2 option. He's the number 3. Just like he is right now in Phoenix, where it's like, I feel like he'd be in the same boat here, except he would probably not get a lot of touches from pick and roll options, except for Marcus Smart. Like, that's the only way I see it, because other guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, those guys aren't really dishing out the rock like the other guys will. And that's the thing, too, that we're missing from the squad right now, is the fact that there's no point guard leadership, and you look at it, Dennis Schroeder's shooting 36% from the field. And Marcus Smart, our biggest signing, right, or one of our bigger signings in the offseason, is just not cutting it. Not really making a dent in what we really need this team to do at the moment. Again, I think it's frustrating as a Celtics fan just knowing that we had so many opportunities to kind of get players in, to kind of draft the guys that we want. And again, we continuously fall short. And I'm waiting for your, Jonathan Smith, your comment to come in. Yeah, I don't think Ayton will ever be... Okay, here it is. I don't think Ayton will ever be a powerhouse like those guys, but I think Brown and Tatum can win with him as the 3, like Love was the 3 with Braun, or Bosch was the 3. The problem is, I feel like, let's look at Ayton's stats really quick. Sorry, I'm showing you a picture of Brandon. Ayton Suns. And kind of looking at the stats right now, kind of for his... let me see if I can find his stats for Basketball Reference. Here we go. I like Basketball Reference a lot better for stats. You look at his 2018-2019 season, averaging, above 15 points per game. This season so far, I know it's only been 5 games, but only 14 points per game. And it kind of leads to the average that he had last year. If you look at his stats from last year with only 69 games being played. Let's go, Brandon. You look at the stats right now, right? Shooting pretty solid, but really the 3-point percentage is just not there, Jonathan Smith. Like, he's not a solid 3-point shooter at this point in his career. Like, he can't become that. Again, it all depends. I don't really know the kid. I don't really know his work ethic. I don't really know what his makeup is. If he's willing to work on that jump shot and really work on, kind of continuously improving that jumper, especially as he is able to stretch the floor out, it helps Devin Booker out. It helps all his guys out, like Mikal Bridges. I think total rebounding has been, about where his career high has been, assist-wise, kind of a more passing big. Free throw percentage-wise, down from the last couple of years where he's like a 75% free throw shooter. Again, what I find frustrating for all this right now is the fact that you look at everything that's kind of being touted about this guy. There's a lot of things to like about Ayton. But at the same time, you look at kind of what the career stats have been for him. It's been about 16 points per game, 10 rebounds, 1.7 assists, and really nothing else much. He's Greg Oden without the injury. He's a pure big, not a floor stretcher. Yeah, and that's the thing, though. He's not, to me, it's like in order to be one of those like pure bigs, you have to be dominant in the paint. I just don't see it yet with Ayton. I know we're kind of tearing off from like a Celtics rant, which is probably good because I probably would go crazy right now if it was a Celtics rant. But, to me, like when I look at a guy like Ayton, I don't really necessarily see someone that could dominate it like a Sabonis can. I'm really big on Sabonis, Jonathan Smith, as you can imagine. He's a player that, can dominate the low post, can dominate the floor. And I honestly think if the Pacers keep losing the way that we do, or the way that they do, I honestly think we could sneaky link Sabonis to come to Boston, and I would love Sabonis in Boston. I feel like having that over a lot of guys, especially because then it allows Tatum and allows Brown a different versatility of playing, right? So now Tatum doesn't have to necessarily have to like have the ball all the time and doing all the dribbles and stuff. You can throw it to the low post or to the kind of like a horn set action, right, where they're at the kind of the all-star jump shot, kind of near the free throw line, right, catching the ball. Like, I would love to see that a lot more, and have that guy be able to rip and go, and then Tatum relocating, and then you kick it to him, and then he's able to shoot a knockdown three. Same thing goes with Brown. I feel like Brown could even elevate even more than what we're seeing right now in the league. Right now, I don't think Ayton has that ability yet. I think right now he's kind of in this like weird bubble, right? Again, number 1 pick overall in the draft. You were hoping that he would be like a difference maker. Obviously, he played really well at Arizona. But really, you haven't seen much of a difference from him in Arizona to him where he's at right now. And it's just kind of one of those things that you look at it and you're hoping for some sort of, I would say you're hoping for something out of him, but I'm not sure, to be honest with you, Jonathan Smith, if you're going to get that from Ayton. To kind of put it bluntly, to put it shortly, because we could probably go on forever about Ayton and what he could be projecting to do. I mean, if we look at this page, we can look at the projections of what he's going to be able to shoot. And this is what they have as the stat line for the prediction, right? They have him shooting at about 28% from 3, 60% from the floor, and about, if I'm not mistaken, let me see if he has total points here. I don't believe so. About 18.1 points. I'm just not sure about it, man. Like, as much as I would love for it to be the case, I'm just not sure at this moment what he really has in his bag at the moment. Again, I would love to be proven wrong, Smith. I would love to be saying, like, hey, he's actually a pretty damn good player. But at the end of the day, I just can't in my heart say that he'll be someone like a Sabonis even. Like, if he was anything remotely close to a Sabonis, I would say, like, hey, man, let's take him. Let's take him. Let's see if we can sign him and get him, like, on a deal and, call it good. But I think at the end of the day, the Celtics do need a point guard. As much as I would, as much as we talk about, like, oh, they don't need more wings, they don't need anything like that, I really do think we need that. And again, the Celtics right now don't really have that guard play that we're looking for, right? They have a lot of forwards in Tatum and Brown. And then other than that, Naismith was supposed to be the answer. He's not getting any run. You got Romeo Langford given so many opportunities and given a contract extension when I just don't think he's really worth it at this point. And that, to me, is kind of the situation at hand as it pertains to the Boston Celtics, is like, what are we getting from any of these guys? I don't feel like we're getting like the players that I thought we were. And that's just kind of the it, guys. I mean, that's really my kind of take on it right now. The Bulls are looking like a very strong team at the moment with Zach LaVine, like I said, playing at an all-star level MVP. I almost called it high school, at an MVP level caliber right now than I've seen before in the years kind of going on. We should have courted Chris Paul. I called for it. This offseason, it's like, if we can get Chris Paul on a 2-year deal, I don't care how much we have to pay him, but if we can get him on a 2-year deal, I would love to do it. But Tyrese is kind of saying it, right? I think that would have been the move. That would have been the flashy move. Right now, I just don't know where the Celtics go right now. The players that we're linked with right now, you got Marvin Bagley, which is just like, no thank you. You have DeAndre Ayton. Again, I'm not really a big fan of. And really, that's it. Like, I haven't seen anybody else. Like, no Karl Anthony Towns. The Timberwolves are playing okay. I think they actually lost to the Orlando Magic today, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they lost to the Orlando Magic 115-97. Karl Anthony Towns, 23-16. Again, like, that's a guy that I would rather have on the team. Again, I will still call him out because I still think that he does have a little bit of Ben Simmons in him at times. But I think hopefully this season will be a turnaround for him and he'll be able to play. Anthony Edwards, again, playing tremendously well for them. And that to me is kind of the biggest thing about this whole situation, is that you got guys like Karl Anthony Towns who are stuck on these teams that don't want to move. And I just don't know who wants to move at this point, because I don't think a lot of people are moving like they once did. I think everyone's kind of comfortable in their situations, right? No one's really looking to make that big, like, oh, I'm moving to this team because I want to win a championship. I haven't seen that from any of the superstars so far. Giannis hasn't been doing that. The only one that's been doing it recently was just that Brooklyn Nets team, and even then, that Brooklyn Nets team is in trouble at the current moment. Again, they did win, but I still think that they could be in trouble in the near future just due to the fact that they're very thin and very top heavy at this current moment without any rebounding, without any offensive firepower, with James Harden being kind of stifled at the free throw line. You could definitely see that there is some situations at hand going on in Brooklyn that's causing their situation to kind of go the way that it is. And again, like I said, the Boston Celtics right now, kind of frustrating, I would say, because you look at what they're supposed to be doing, what they are doing, and it's just, again, it is Justin. I knew you were gonna come in the comment section, man. How you doing, man? I really like that Bulls team right now. It's looking pretty legit right now. I know my boy Pete, who you can put his feet to the fire, Justin, this Friday, because he's gonna be live streaming with me on Friday. You can put his feet to the fire and we can talk about that. Because again, I want to see what's going on right now with our Celtics, man. It's frustrating to watch the Celtics right now, kind of being a little bit frustrating. Again, shout out to Ayo Dosunmu, the kid from Illinois that ended up going to the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, Ayo Dosunmu. He played a really big role in the Celtics win in the Celtics loss, or Chicago Bulls win. Really played very well. I liked it. And I really am curious to see how a season will continue to go on from here. I really like his game, man. So if you are an Ayo Dosunmu, I'm a big fan. I'm a big believer in him, and so I'm hoping that he can continue this rise and this sort of like role player-esque type of thing, because he's playing really well right now. But this is what MSNBC had to say about it. Describe the game in one sentence. The Celtics played their best basketball of the young season in the first half and built a 19-point lead, but the second half explosion by the Bulls turned Monday's game into arguably the worst loss of the season that has been a full of bad ones. Again, Jason Tatum right now playing horribly right now. Finished 8 for 22 from the field, 20 points, and 1 from 4 from three-point land. The Celtics won't be good until their projected top 15 player looks like a top 15 player. And that's the other thing, too. Right now, we're not getting our Jason Tatum that we were hoping for. We're not getting the Jason Tatum that we have been come to expecting, to come to love, to come to know. And it's really been frustrating, in my opinion, to see that, we haven't really gotten the Jason Tatum that I thought we were going to get, coming into the season, right? I thought we were going to get like someone who, could really do some damage, could really, start the league off very well. And that hasn't been the case so far yet, right? It's been kind of like I would say kind of like a decline, kind of like a regression of where he once was in the regular season from last year, even the playoffs. And it's kind of been frustrating because you look at a guy like him and you're thinking this guy has the tools and the utilage to be like the top player, but he just doesn't do it. Like his effective field goal percentage, just anything that's being efficient, it's far from it. He's the usage rate is high, but the efficiency rate is very low. And again, he might be a guy that suffers from the Zach LaVine problem, right? A guy, he can score at will and do all these things, but he's never going to get to the top without like a point guard or without other players around him to really help him kind of, navigate the waters of a whole NBA season. And that's, to me, why I think as the Celtics, we do need a point guard. We need someone to kind of help us in that scenario, to help us get to a situation where we can actually be a viable team. And at the end of the day, right now, we're not viable. We're barely staying afloat, if you want to even say that. Right now, we're a team that I don't even know what our identity is. Defensively, like our identity is MIA. Our identity is we give up points. If you want to score the rock, go ahead and score the rock. We're just going to give up points. And to me, that is where the Celtics right now are, in my opinion, going to be in some serious trouble if we don't change things around soon. I really do think that Brad Stevens' job could be on the line as soon as this season, because right now, you look at everything that's going on, you look at how the Celtics are playing, and you re-sign guys that really don't make a dent on our team, impact-wise, points, rebounds, assists. Like, those guys are not making the impact. We look again at the roster. Other than Al Horford, who's played in the league a long time, hell, I'll even say Dennis Schroeder, Robert Williams, kind of, but other than that, everyone else is a liability. Jabari Parker, not doing too much. Josh Richardson, not really doing too much. Romeo Langford, I don't even know what to make of Romeo Langford right now. He's not been playing very well. Peyton Pritchard, a guy that I regularly praise on the show, has not been playing to the standard and expectations that we've been coming to know and seeing of him. And I would love to see Honcho get more minutes. Like, I think Honcho should get more minutes. I don't understand why we're not playing him a lot more. I understand he's not like the 3-point stretching guy, but he can rebound the hell out of the ball. And if we don't put him out there to rebound, what's the point of having him on the roster? I understand that he's going to take away Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, because they kind of play the same position, right? But again, it is frustrating to see that right now at this current moment, we're not getting the team that I think we should be getting. And I would say that I'm frustrated as heck with it. And this might be a short stream, guys, because at the end of the day, I'm pissed. I'm upset. I may not seem like it right now. I may seem like I'm chill, kind of doing this thing. But at the end of the day, I'm upset that we kind of blew this game instead of actually holding it down, waiting for this team to kind of wake up. And it just seems that we can't wake up at this moment. I would love to see a guy like Bruno Fernando maybe hit the floor and see what he can do for us as well. Grant Williams, yeah, he's shooting 41% from the floor, but he's not doing too much anything else. Jabari Parker, same thing. Not really doing too much anything else. And I would say as, time goes on, as we kind of continue to monitor the situation, I really do think that it is going to be a long, painful season for the Boston Celtics at this current moment. And I really do think that this is going to be a situation where I think it's going to be a long, rough season. We're going to be in the playing game and get eliminated immediately. And I don't even think we have our first round pick, to be honest. I don't even think we do. Let me see what our Celtics draft picks are looking like. Let me see here. I think we have all of our picks. I wish it would tell me where the picks are. I believe we're good. Yeah, we have our first round pick for this season. Again, I don't think that it matters too much at the moment. Until like we get something, I think we have to lose in order to get that number one pick. Maybe we go for Paolo, maybe we go for Chet. I don't think we're gonna get that bad, to be honest with you. I think we're probably gonna be kind of a little bit in the later part of the draft. And I don't know who's out there. We're gonna do our tournament looks. We're gonna do our kind of scouting stuff as we continue for the season to continue to carry on. The college basketball season started to pick up relatively soon. I know a lot of Division IIs and D1s are gonna start up relatively soon. But again, it is frustrating to see that at the current moment, that's kind of the situation. But let's look at this story because I did talk about it a little bit earlier. Why the Celtics reportedly picked up 2022-2023 options of 4 players. And this is what the article goes on to say. The Celtics are maintaining faith in their young guys. The Celtics have exercised their 4-year club options on Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, 3rd-year options on Aaron Naismith and Peyton Pritchard for the 2022-2023 seasons, according to multiple sources on Monday. Monday was the NBA deadline for teams to pick up rookie scale options. Again, Langford was a number 14 overall draft pick in 19, due to make $5.6 million. Grant Williams set to pay $4.3, Naismith $3.8, and Pritchard $2.2, both on bargain deals. While none of these players have made a significant impact on Boston to date, all 4 have flash potential and could either work their ways to the Celtics' regular rotation or become a trade asset for the new president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens. Let me just pause this for me continuing to read this article. In what world is Peyton Pritchard? I love him. I love the guy. But I don't think he's a trade asset at this point. But in what world is Romeo Langford, Aaron Naismith, and Grant Williams trade assets? Those guys have no value at all whatsoever. No disrespect to those guys because they've worked their butt off, so I'm not trying to disrespect their craft. But in terms of what the Celtics have done, they have not put those guys in positions to be like, look, here's Grant Williams. If a team is, kind of wants that like stretch big and kind of shoot the rock, here's Grant Williams. Oh, you want a scoring guard that can shoot the lights out? Here's Romeo Langford and Aaron Naismith. Like, those guys have not been put in positions, respectively, to really show everybody what's going on. To me, it's one of those things. I look at it, I see everything that goes on, And right now, the Celtics are in no man's land trying to figure out what the next move is for this team. I'm frustrated as heck because at the end of the day, the Boston Celtics need to make moves to get players, right? Lonzo Ball was on the market. He and obviously Alex Caruso and DeMar DeRozan, but I would say, Lonzo Ball kind of has a big part in it. But Lonzo Ball is making a huge impact for the Chicago Bulls at this current moment. There's a reason why they're 6-1 right now, and we're 4-7. Like that, or I don't know if we're 4-7 right now. I think we are, but actually we haven't even played that many games. Anyway, it doesn't even matter. I think I'm talking about like in terms of this whole October. Because we did play preseason in October, so I think that's where I'm getting my games mixed up. We played from October to November, and the fact that we've only had 4 wins to the season is some BS right now, right? I'm going to ESPN right now to get the official numbers because, again, it is... oh, wow, it's a tie game. Interesting. And we can look at the standings really quick for the Boston Celtics. Right now, the Boston Celtics only have 2 wins on the day, to 5 losses. That is unacceptable. Our defense is absolutely playing atrocious right now. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown need to step up on the defensive end. I think Jaylen Brown, I love him. I think he's playing really well. But at the end of the day, you do need to play some defense again because that was what made you very special coming out of the draft that year. I was like, oh, dang, okay, this guy can play some defense and really, kind of score the rock. I think he could be a really good player for us. And, defensively, it's either Time Lord and Marcus Smart, and that's it. No one else is playing defense on this team, and that's the frustrating part. Obviously, as a 6'1" guard, Dennis Schroeder is going to get cooked. The Celtics right now are in a predicament, in a situation where I am actually floored and frustrated with the fact that we cannot close out games. Like the Chicago Bulls honestly should have had their second loss tonight. The way that we played and everything like that. We played really well, and right now we're struggling. We're struggling to find an identity. What is the Celtics' identity right now? Is it take a lot of bad shots, not really anything offensively gifted right now, not playing to the strengths and abilities of our team, and just faltering to, it is what it is. We're just kind of going to chill. No, right now the Celtics are playing piss poor, and if we continue to play like this, I don't see how Brad Stevens survives 1 year into the job. I'm sorry. I think he should have went back to Indiana. Would have been a nice story for him to kind of coach the hometown team and do all that stuff. Because right now, the Boston Celtics are a shambles of their former self. We had aspirations just 3 years ago of winning a championship. I'm talking about winning a freaking championship. An aspiration with Kyrie Irving, with Gordon Hayward, and all those guys, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown coming up the ranks saying, okay, this is an oven-baked process. We're going to take our time. We're going to chill, build this team. Right now, the Boston Celtics need to wake themselves up, look themselves in the mirror, and realize that they need to start getting rid of some guys so that we can freaking get some guys to actually help our team win a freaking basketball championship. I know the Lakers aren't playing very well, but once March, April, once that starts rolling around, they're going to be up for it. They're going to be in the championship game. Where are the Boston Celtics going to be right now? They're going to be in the middle of the lottery, maybe pick 7 through 14, just thinking like, okay, we'll take you, I guess, and maybe he'll help us win. This is where, again, I'm spinning all over the place. I'm frustrated as heck right now and really just, upset with the fact that the Boston Celtics continuously don't have a plan. They had a plan. It backfired as soon as Kyrie Irving stepped away and did his thing. Whatever you think of it. At this point, it is what it is. I'm not going to harp on it too much. But as soon as you realize that, Kyrie Irving was kind of in and out of the Boston Celtics, you needed to have a contingency plan of who you were going to sign and who you're going to pick up and who was going to be the guy for us. Obviously, you did that with Kemba Walker. I still think that was a mistake to this day. A small guard is not going to win you anything in this league unless you surround that small guard with a lot of talent. I don't want to call out Steph Curry, but Steph Curry actually has an amazing gift. But again, surrounded by a lot of guys that could do the movement that they need to for the offense. I don't want to yell anymore. I don't want to be frustrated. But at the end of the day, I really do feel nothing right now for this team. I feel nothing right now for the way that this organization has continuously ruined Celtics basketball for me, and maybe ruined it for a lot of people. You know, the Celtics were once a proud club with a lot of NBA Hall of Famers, All-Stars, you name it. It didn't matter what. The Celtics had a brand name. Right now, I don't know what that name is for the Celtics. I don't know what the Celtics identity is. And you know, me and my sister were talking about it because she's a huge Celtics fan. She lives in Boston now. It's one of those things you look at it and you're just frustrated with the fact that there is no accountability at the front office. There's no accountability from the ownership to try and get guys to help them win games. I think Lonzo Ball would have been an amazing addition to this Boston Celtics team. I think trading for Sabonis would be an amazing thing for our Celtics team. But right now, the Celtics, you're telling me you're going to trade Romeo Langford, Naismith? Who else we got? Pritchard? Hell, you can even throw Marcus Smart in there. You're telling me that those guys, you're trading them and you're getting all-star value for them? At the end of the day, I think the Celtics right now are stuck in limbo. They're stuck, you know, with a team that is definitely not good enough to help out the Jason Tatums and the Jaylen Browns of the world. And it's really just a team that, really, if those guys leave, we're number one. You know, that's probably the worst roster. This honestly might be the worst roster in the NBA right now. Not top to bottom. Obviously, it's top heavy. But this might be the worst roster ever assembled, ever created. You know, I felt the way when Romeo Langford got taken, and year one pass, year two pass, and all of a sudden, it's the same crap all over again. Again, it's frustrating. It's at the point where I just don't know what to make of this team. You know, I could sit here being upset, which I have done just a couple of minutes ago, just yelling because I freaking care about this team. I care for the Boston Celtics to get back to the freaking Boston Celtics name that built it. The house that Bill Russell built himself. Right? This dude put the franchise on his freaking back, along with John Havlicek, along with those other guys, Casey Jones, Robert Parrish, Larry Bird, you name it. Hell, you can even throw, as much as it's controversial, you can throw Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce and Rondo in that conversation as well. The house that those guys built to win championships for those organizations, for those clubs, to actually give a damn about winning a championship. Where's the ambition right now from the ownership? Where's the ambition to go out and say, okay, I don't care what it takes. We're signing some free agents and we're getting them to come to Boston. Again, you have Jason Tatum. You have Jaylen Brown. Guys that are top 25 NBA players, maybe top 30, you could say. 2 top 30 NBA players currently on the roster. And you're telling me that you can't get a freaking point guard like Alonzo Ball, or you can't get a big like Sabonis or Karl-Anthony Towns to come to that team to help us win a championship. That's unacceptable. As the ownership group, I don't care if you like flashy. I don't care what it is. Hell, go and get Chris Paul, who was a free agent just this past offseason. Go get him to help our team and maybe help Jason Tatum play to the best of his ability that he can. Right now, I just don't see that. Right now, I see a team that's just okay with mediocrity. It's okay with, as long as we have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown selling out the seats at TD Garden, that's okay with me. That can't be the standard for Boston right now. That can't be the standard for a once historic franchise tied for the most NBA championships in NBA history. I will continue to bring that point up because right now we don't have an ambition to battle the Lakers. Right now we have the ambition of, let's just be okay with being number 2. Let's okay with just, selling out tickets. This ownership group needs to get their heads out of their you-know-whats and, really focus in on what matters most to this organization. Is it winning championships or is it selling butts and seats? Because I can make an argument that it should be both. But, hey, it is what it is at this point. I can only say so much. I can only do so much as a fan. It's up to the players. It's up to the ownership group to finally put their money where their mouth is and start helping us win championships and start helping us win, really getting back into what we're used to knowing from seeing from this Boston Celtics team. And that's being a team that could really do some damage in this league. But I've spoken too much, and I think we should just end it there. So again, leave your comments in the section down below if you guys agree with my Boston Celtics take, or, what do you guys make of the Boston Celtics at this point? I did want to talk about other things, but I think the Boston Celtics just made me too upset to really focus in on talking about other teams at the moment. So Friday, I'm going to see Wednesday if we can do another live stream. But Friday, for sure, we're doing a live stream with my boy P, and we're really going to get into it and really go to the nitty-gritty details of, the NBA and around the league. Again, I do apologize for being frustrated. I don't want to give out this persona that I'm like Stephen A. Smith or anything like that. But, man, when I'm passionate about something, it really grinds my gears to know that the Boston Celtics, a once proud franchise, have now fallen to mediocrity and have kind of settled for that mediocrity for time to come. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the Boston Celtics? Please let me know in the comment section down below.